Hey guys, it's me, Hunter Ivy, and welcome back to Reptile Events. It's been a long time doing a video. Well, it's because the coronavirus hit, and it's been pretty hard to figure out what kind of video I should make. And to be honest, ever since coronavirus hit, it's been kind of affecting my business a little bit. Like for example, I can barely even do live shows for birthday parties. Yeah, or any school presentations because school is closed. It sucks. Yeah, it really does suck for my business. Indeed does. Yeah. I love doing this business. I love doing reptile events. I love educating people with reptiles and stuff. I mean, it's my life. It's my life. I love educating people with reptiles. So today, I am now doing a video I've always wanted to do. And this is the video I've always wanted to do ever since I did reptile events, and this is called Snakes versus Lizards. Since I have 3 lizards, 6 snakes, and 1 toad, actually, I've been wanting to do a video where I actually do a snakes versus lizard video, because the reason why is that what could be better, what could be interesting to take care of, and what could be do better in care and stuff. Is it snakes or lizards? Which is which? Well, let's find out once I bring out the reptiles. I'm going to show you guys. Yes, this video is going to show reptiles. Just probably a few only, because I'm only going to show you a few examples of snakes that are really good to take care of, and also only like a few choices of lizards to take care of. That could be good for beginners and stuff. But anyway, let's get on to the video, and here we go. First, onto snakes. Now, right next to me is my bull snake, James. So, I'm going to get him out and show you what he's like. So this is James. He's a bull snake. You've already seen him in a lot of videos before at my Reptile Events show. So yeah, I've always been presenting him in videos a lot and stuff. So yeah, he's just 8. So not gonna like keep him on me too long because he just ate a rat yesterday. But anyway, the reason I brought him out is because I'm here to talk about snakes and lizards. So let's talk about snakes first before we can get to the lizards and stuff. So this is a bull snake, and for snakes, you don't really need special lighting. Although you do need heat bulbs, which is this thing right here on top of his cage. But this is also belong to his mate as well, light-side bull snake, which is in here right now because I have to put her in here because sometimes when I feed them, they accidentally sometimes bite each other, and yeah, they do that sometimes. I have to separate them every time I feed them. So let's talk about snakes here. Now with snakes, they're really easy to set up at times when it comes to taking care of them and everything. Now, the good thing about them is that you only need certain temperature heat bulbs. You don't really need UVBs and all that stuff, or a huge cage. Some do pretty well in small cages, and it depends on what kind of species it is. Now, some do require big cages. I will admit that some do require that much, but sometimes that can sometimes stress them out, because when cages are too big for a snake, it will stress them out at times. Because sometimes they actually do pretty well in small cages. Like for example, the Bushmaster. Even though it's a big old viper, it gets up to 8 feet. 8 feet. They actually do pretty well in a small cage. Yeah, but I don't recommend you guys get a Bushmaster. I don't recommend you guys get a Bushmaster at all, because those snakes are very venomous, very dangerous, and are not good for beginners at all. So, for beginners, I do recommend you get these kind of snakes right here. This is a bull snake, and these are definitely great to start with when it comes to beginners and stuff. They're very simple. You need a substrate like cypress mulch, which I use right here. I used to use snake aspen, but I've read that snake aspen is actually not a natural substrate. So I don't recommend snake aspen for snakes anymore, because Snake aspirin used to be it's still a popular substrate, but it's definitely not a good substrate in slides. It's not natural. It's just wood shavings that it's been treated as substrate, so it's not a good substrate. And I know one person made a video about it, and it's pretty interesting how it's a really bad substrate for snakes. That's why I recommend use sacrifice mulch for snakes, because it's a lot better, and also it's more natural, and it's also better for their environment when you're taking care of them and stuff. Yeah. Now, bull snakes, they do need some humidity. Now, there are some snakes that do need some humidity. Some snakes may need like 90 or 80%. Some even need like 70 to 80%, depending on where they are from, depending if they're tropical, depending on if they're tree snakes or anything like that. And some snakes do big cages if they're a boreal. If they're boreal, they need branches to climb on, because when it comes to boreal snakes, they need branches to stay on there and stuff, because they love those kind of things. For snakes that I want to say low to the ground, they only need a few branches, and they need hides to hide in, and also some substrate that's thick enough for the burrow in. So yeah, any substrate that's thick enough to burrow in. And the good thing about snakes is, well, they're actually great animals to work with. They got great personalities. They have really amazing moods, and they're also not hard to work with at all. I love working with snakes. They're great animals and stuff, and they're not that hard to take care of, depending on the species it is and stuff. So yeah, I like snakes. Yeah, and this snake right here is a great snake to me, and he's always been a great snake to me. He's always been the best, one of the best snakes I ever worked with, including my other snakes that I always worked with and stuff. So yeah, this is why I own a lot of snakes in my collection, because they're a lot better than lizards are. Even though I love lizards, but when it comes to lizards, they're actually a bit harder than snakes. With snakes, they rarely have vet trips, because snakes do very well in captivity. There's a lot of snakes that I know that do very well in captivity. Even though some snakes don't, there are some snake species that don't do well in captivity, but there are a lot of snake species that do very well in captivity, including this one, the one I'm holding right now. This is a captive bred bull snake, and he's a heat albino. So yeah, snakes do very well in captivity. They do extremely well in captivity. And they live for a very long time. They live 20, 30 years. So yeah, for snakes, they're definitely a great animal to work with. They got a lot of pros, but the only cons that I have with them is that sometimes they can bite. Sometimes they can bite. If you don't have the right temperature for them, they will get sick. They will get sick. Also, they eat rodents, and some people don't like sacrificing rodents to snakes, which is understandable, but still, that's how it goes. I mean, that's nature. Nature can sometimes be cruel. That's how it goes. Yeah, nature sometimes can be cruel and stuff. But when it comes to feeding them, it's also a pro too, because snakes, the good thing about snakes, they don't really eat as much. They don't eat too much, so you won't be spending so much money on them. Well, you will be spending money on their cage and lights and hides and substrate. You probably will spend money on that, but the rest of it, for food, definitely not that much of a cost. I'll tell you that, because I've been spending way less on snakes than I did with lizards. Lizards are pretty expensive, and we'll get onto them later. Right now, I'm just going to get onto it with the snakes and why they're actually a lot better, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's actually cheaper cheaper to feed snakes, because they only eat like sometimes once a week, sometimes twice a week, and sometimes they even eat like one per 2 weeks, and sometimes they even eat like 1 to 3 weeks, depending on the species it is. For example, my Madagascar cat snake, which is way over here, and I know you can't see the cage because my camera is way in front of me, but I'm pointing in the direction where the Madagascar snake cage is. But anyway, about him, he only eats like every once a month at times because he doesn't get that big. He only gets 3.5 feet, and he's full grown now. All right, buddy. All right. So snakes are definitely a great animal to work with. They are a great animal. They're great animals. So I love them. They're definitely great animals. So enough about snakes. Let's get on to lizards. I think you already know what this little guy is. This is the lizard. This is a golden gecko. So yeah, oh, he's very jumpy. He doesn't like being held that often. Anyway, some lizards are extremely jumpy, and when it comes to lizards, some just don't like being handled at times. And this golden gecko is that example. Now, when it comes to lizards, some like being handled and some do. It depends on their behavior. It all depends on how they could be at times. He's a very jumpy lizard. Yeah, he's just... yeah, he's very jumpy. And some do require this. Branches. And lizards do require branches. They also require heat bulbs. But they require heat bulbs that can be very hot. Like, for example, the monitor I have. Like my mangrove monitor, he requires a very high heat bulb. And also, they also require special lighting. Some lizards require UVBs. They sometimes require other bulbs in general. So yeah, they require those. But for the geckos, they require, no heat bulbs, and depending on the species it is. Also, they sometimes require UVBs, depending on what they're eating and stuff. Now, sometimes geckos can do very well with without the UVB and stuff. They can actually do very well. They're very active. That's the thing about lizards. They're very active, and this guy is pretty active. Very active. They need big cages. Lizards need big cages because they're so active. And the thing about them is, there he goes again. And the thing about them is they're going to need big cages. They probably need cages like big as your room. That's huge. I mean, very, very huge indeed. And that can be expensive. Be very expensive to buy. And that can be very difficult to set up. Yeah, that's the cause with lizards. They need a lot of space. They run a lot. They run a lot and stuff. And they are definitely very active animals. They also have four legs for a reason. Because they run a lot. And they're very fast. Yeah. And some require leashes. That's right, you can walk a lizard with a leash, which is really interesting indeed. You can walk monitors with leashes, you can walk tegus with leashes, you can walk a blue-tongued skink with a leash, which is pretty interesting. I've seen blue-tongued skinks on leashes before. It's very interesting and stuff. Some even eat cat food, and some eat crickets, mealworms, and all that stuff. But some do require rodents and other animals in general. Like sometimes they'll eat snakes, sometimes they'll even eat little bitty geckos like these. And yeah, some lizards do require food, and sometimes they can be very picky. Yeah, lizards can be picky. They can be picky animals. They can be very picky animals indeed. And yeah, monitors are one of those examples. And when it comes to monitors, they can be very picky to work with at times. Now, also, sometimes lizards will hate you. Now, snakes rarely will hate you, and they actually bond with you pretty well. Lizards, sometimes they will hate you. Sometimes lizards will try to bite you, be very defensive, and be very aggressive towards you, depending on the species and depending on what it is and stuff. And some lizards require special feeds. Like sometimes they'll even eat lettuce, including fruits and vegetables. It depends on what they want to feast on. And also they need calcium supplements, whereas snakes, they don't need calcium supplements and stuff unless they're very sick. If snakes are very sick and they don't have that much calcium, they might need calcium supplements. But for lizards, they need it every day and every week and probably every month. So yeah, they need it like lizards like need it all the time. But for geckos, they don't always need it and stuff. Now, also, some lizards need like a lot of climbing areas because they're very climbing animals, and they also need to be taken out of the cage once in a while because they like to get out sometimes. Because lizards are very active and they can't stay in a cage all the time. You have to get them out once in a while and let them explore in your room and stuff. But when you're doing with that, please do not let out your cats or dogs because they might get in a fight with your lizards, and you do not want that to happen at all. And yeah, and stuff. So yeah, also lizards sometimes drop their tails, and you have to be careful with that. Yeah, lizards can drop their tails, and that cannot be good at all. And some lizards do not drop their tails, which is a good thing. And stuff. And some lizards can become very stressed. They can be sometimes very stressed, depending on where they're bred from, and depending on what their lifespan is in captivity and all that stuff. So yeah, it all depends and stuff. It's very difficult to take care of lizards than it is with snakes. Yeah, lizards are more advanced than snakes are, because lizards, they have a more tougher experience than snakes do. Snakes are so chill. They don't really social very well. They don't social as much, and on top of that, they don't need much attention. But with lizards, they need a lot of attention. And let me tell you, geckos, they're one of the most social animals to work with. And this golden gecko right here, Simon, he's a very social gecko indeed. Very social gecko and stuff. Yeah. And he also has a brother in the same cage with him. That'll be Alvin. Sometimes they get along, and sometimes they don't. Depends on how they are. I wish I could get a third gecko and call it Theodore. Yeah, I need to do that one of these days and stuff. Yeah, so I have the full trio of the Alvin chipmunks. Yeah. But anyway, geckos and lizards are great animals, and sometimes they make great pets, depending on the species. Some even make Some even make horrible pets. Some even make horrible pets, and let me tell you, lizards even make horrible. This guy is jumpy. Oh Lord have mercy. You're just a jumpy guy. You're a very jumpy guy. To keep on picking you up every time and deal with you. Yeah, indeed. But anyway, like I said, lizards can be very difficult. They can be a little bit more advanced than snakes. And yeah, some require certain cages. Some require screen cages like this gecko does. Geckos do better in screen cages than they do in glass cages. Some do pretty well in glass cages too, depending on the big area and stuff. And caging is going to be expensive for lizards because they're very active and they're going to need big cages. So yeah, and also lizards do need trips to the vet because some may have health issues, some may have parasites, depending on how they're treated and everything and stuff. And yeah, and some don't do well in breeding and stuff. That's why I think snakes are better to work with, because you get less trips to the vet. You also get less parasites, and not only that, their feeding is not that expensive. But with these guys, lizards, their feeding is pretty expensive. And let me tell you, I've spent a lot of money. More than I did with lizards than with snakes. Snakes, you know, they can be sometimes expensive, but lizards, way more expensive indeed. So yeah. So this video is just to show you what it's like to work with lizards, and also snakes. So yeah, guys, for the winter, snakes are a way better choice. But this doesn't mean I hate lizards. I love lizards. They're great animals, but it's just sometimes their care can be difficult to arrange, depending on the species it could be and stuff. Snakes, on the other hand, they be somewhat easy, depending on the species you're working with and stuff. And most of them make great pets. They really do. Lizards, on the other hand, some make great pets and some don't. It depends on what they are and stuff. Thanks for guys so much for watching my video for snakes versus lizards. I hope this video will actually help you out on lizards and snakes as well. Anyway, guys, I'm Hunter of Reptile Events, and thanks for watching. See you guys later. Bye. Alright, let's put you back up, because I think you're way too excited.